Good morning and welcome to our Saturday session on efficient, economical and effective social media. It's a bit of a formula that I've been bringing up over the time that I've been working with social media. Now, I do apologize. I'm not going to be able to answer so many questions along the way because I've only got this little screen. I'm currently on the road visiting my parents in Southeast Queensland. So I'm not in my normal environment. So I don't have multiple screens, but please do ask questions. I'll be able to look at those towards the end. So please put them in the Q&A or in the chat if you've got things along the way that you'd like to ask, and I'll come back to those at the very end to be able to answer those for you. So it's a live session this morning. We'll get underway because there's quite a bit that needs to be covered. Let's have a look at what I can bring up here. Share the screen. It's always complex when you're only working with the stuff that you're not used to working with. And we're off and just about racing. Here we go. The efficient, economical E3 method of social media. It's brought to you this morning by Business Station and the Australian Small Business Advisory Services Digital Solutions Program, thanks to the Australian Government and their AusIndustry department. Also Regional Development Australia, Brisbane in Queensland, and Treaty Business Consulting in my home territory of the Northern Territory. Little thing here from Eric Qualman, who's a bit of a founder in various different startups within social media in Silicon Valley, saying we don't have a choice on whether we do social media. The question is how well we do it. And I would add in there too, how effectively we do it. Not just doing it well, but doing it in a way that's very effective. This morning's subjects are going to cover why social media is just so damn hard, how we overcomplicate our social media journey, some efficient content creation tips that come with this, the economical tools you can use to create them, including some free ones. We look at an effective strategy. There's this foolproof way to keep doing and keep repeating the same thing over and over again in order to get it so it works well for you. And then probably what could be the most important part of the day is how to keep that momentum. We all come out of these webinars and these workshops and these seminars and courses really excited to get going on our social media, but we do find that we can lose momentum. We run out of puff really quickly, and we'll see why that is very shortly. A bit about me, I've worked with lots of people. Working currently with the Google Digital Springboard Digital Literacy Program. That is a mouthful. Facebook Australia's Boost with Facebook program. I support their group, the Boost with Facebook Australia group, as well as training a lot of people around Australia through them. I'm head of digital business, Treaty Business Consulting, got my qualifications and all sorts of stuff from things like the Australian Computer Society, the Australian Marketing Institute, Britain's Chartered Institute of Marketing, which I think is probably the best marketing lessons in the world, and the University of New South Wales Business School, where I got my bachelor and master's in business information systems. Why I can speak on forming a method for how to do social media, despite not being a big guru out there. I'm not a Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm not an Amy Porterfield or any of those kind of people, or Amari Smith. It's because I've worked on over 1,500 social media accounts since 2008. And the bulk of those have really been the last 3 or 4 years where I've got involved with companies like Google and Facebook, which have opened a lot more doors to me. I've done over 100 social media courses, and I keep doing them. I'm doing a course probably every month now. I just want to be sure that I know other people, the experts in the field, are teaching, and I'll be able to pass that on to the ASBAS people like yourselves, which means I've got tons of certifications and qualifications along the way, which I will not go into quite yet. But also the fact that I've been able to deliver social media training through over 20,000 Australian businesses through Facebook, Google, ASBAS Digital Solutions Program, the Be Connected program for the federal government, as well as the Stay Smart Online cybersecurity programs, means you talk to a lot of people. You talk to a lot of people about what they go through. And what I've discovered is that we're all going through pretty much the same thing, and especially in small business, we're going through the same problems and the same tools and the same issues as everybody else is. So this is the culmination of that. So why have I formed the E3 format? Is simply because we're spending too much time making content for social media for very little return on investment. We're spending too much money on the tools to help run social media. Often we're running 3, 4, 5, 6 different tools all at once that are costing us a lot. We tend to waste time on these like ego building activities like challenges and pods. If you know what they are, like the 30-day challenges for making Instagram stories for 30 days, or how to post video for 30 days, and forming pods with other people in our groups to create fake engagement on our posts. And we think that the platforms don't know what we're doing. And there's no plan in place to keep going once the excitement of these challenges or the novelty of a new course or a new way is over. So we hope to address a lot of that today. So why is social media so hard? Well, it's because you need to have an objective in mind, and it's work. It's basically hard work. For you as the business owner, social media is not fun. It's not you're an influencer going to a waterfall and taking photos on swings in Bali. You're a business who's trying to get together a business objective. So you need to have an objective in mind. And quite often we don't know what that is. We just go into social media because someone says, oh, you're supposed to be doing social media. The reality is we've got to go into social media knowing what the outcome is going to be. If that outcome is to get more people to walk through the door, then that choice is going to inform every single decision we make along the way. If the outcome is to sell more stuff on our website, then everything we do has to somehow point towards that. And you also need to have a plan to achieve it. Very few businesses ever have a plan for their social media because, like everything, they've kind of gone into a business that suddenly grew and mushroomed and sort of popping up all sorts of things. And we haven't really had much of a plan for our businesses. Therefore, having a plan for our social media seems completely foreign. And then you have to actually do the stuff. You actually have to do the work of social media, and it is work. That's why it's so hard for us. But when you think about it, having an objective, having a plan, doing the work, it doesn't seem that hard, but we keep failing at it because business social media isn't actually very much fun. I don't know if anyone really ever says this. They keep saying how amazingly creative and dynamic it is, but the reality is it's actually not that much fun for most of us. It's not why we got into business. It takes a while to see a result. So you keep doing things over and over and over a couple of months and you're going, no one's really seeing my stuff. Nothing's improving. Social media takes time. Just like a fine wine takes a while to develop, so too does your efforts on social media and any kind of marketing for that matter. The other reason is that we lose momentum because it's not actually about us. It's about the people we're trying to put the things to. So you need to make sure that you're pointing to the right stuff, which is the stuff that's in their lives. And I'll take a look at some of that a bit more closely soon. Social media is boring because it's repetitive. It's not one aha eureka creative moment. It's actually a repetitive cycle where you post, you measure, you adjust, and then you repeat the whole thing all over again and again and again. Success in social media isn't always based on your brilliance. It's based on the data you're getting back from the things you've already done before. So you're getting back the results of your previous posts. You're doing research into what your audience is like. So that stuff's not creative. So you're not having this moment of, oh, look at this post. It is brilliantly written, brilliantly set about. It's also not about, it's not about inspiration. Even though you may have an inspiring post that helps inspire or to motivate or to move other people, it's not actually inspirational to you. It's about a formula. And all those most inspirational posts you see in there, I see like influencers like Naz Daily, if you've ever seen him, Simon Sinek, every single thing they do seems so inspirational, so of the moment. But the planning and the data and the formulas that go into that, you'll notice with Naz Daily, if you've ever seen his stuff, is a very defined formula of how each video goes. The same thing with Simon Sinek. Every video has a very definitive formula that says, I'm going to come in here, posit a question, give you 3 short reasons why that question can be answered by me, and give you a inspirational message moving forward that you can action in your lives. Pretty much every motivational speaker does the exact same thing. The most inspirational and most creative stuff is actually remarkably boring once you break it down to its individual parts. So that's what we need to get used to, is that anyone can do this stuff because it's actually a process. It isn't brilliance. Social media does take a while to show a result. It needs time to see what works because you and I probably don't have the engagement that the Simon Sineks and the Oprah Winfreys and the Richard Bransons have. We've got very low engagement rates. We've got very low amounts of followers, and it takes us ages to get good data because there's so few people engaging. So therefore, it's going to take a while. You're going to have to grow that following over a period of time to get enough data to be able to tell what works and what doesn't. And it takes time for you to find your groove as well. You're gonna false start a few times. You probably already have. You've started, you've done a couple of posts one week and then life happened, or you got onto a roll, did a 30-day challenge and went, yep, I did it. And then after that, it's like, and what do I do next? You need to post and measure and adjust and post. And that kind of repetitive action is going to take you a while to get into a groove. You're going to fail a few times on the way. And that's completely 100% okay. We're also very inconsistent as humans. We're very predictable, but in our things that we have to do for work and to carry out our lives, we're actually quite inconsistent. Because we're inconsistent, the Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and Pinterest and Twitter algorithms, they find it difficult to draw patterns on what we're doing that is the most attractive to the people we're trying to reach. So what it does, it just pretty much, if you do one post and then 17 days later you do another post and then 2 days later another post and then it might take you another month to do another post, there's not enough information that those platforms can get from the results of those to be able to draw patterns that they can then go, I know who you're trying to look for. I know who the people are you want to get. I'll send it through to them. So consistency is one of the hardest things to get in social media, but is probably the single most important factor of all the things you do, way beyond what you write, way beyond what day you do it on or what time you do it on or what your targeting is or the prettiness of your pictures. That consistency is what's going to get you a better result. And above all, it's really hard because social media is not about you at all. The profiles are not about you. They're about the attention you can get from others. That's if you're looking at like a Facebook profile of like, say, someone who you know is a bit of a show pony. They make it all about them. But the reality is they're making it all about the attention they can get for others. So in essence, even though they're looking for attention, they're posting everything they can to get a result from people who are likely to respond to that, people who are likely to argue with them, people who are likely to give them, compliments and say how pretty they look today. Facebook pages, even though you own them, are not about you either. They're about how customers can have their problems solved. Now, this is going to be a hard thing for people to realize when they go into social media after making every post about what their service is and how much it is and how they should get, come in now, do this now, book this now, eat this now, and take up this offer now. Those pages are about you solving problems for people who have those problems in the context of what you do for your business. Then things like Facebook groups or groups on LinkedIn or any other platform, great groups form around interests that people have in common rather than brands. Now, some people are brands. Some people are very famous. They have a huge following behind them. You've got the Kim Kardashians, again, Simon Sinek, Oprah, all those kind of inspirational presenters. They are their own brand. So people will form around them because they have a common interest in that very famous, very high stakes celebrity person. But they're still forming with something they have in common. They've all got a fan. They've all got an interest in that particular person. The average person isn't going to flock to a group that's all about a particular mechanical service or a particular life coach. It's going to be much about the groups form because they've got something in common. They live in the same area. They have the same hobbies. They all have kids. They have kids that go to the same school. That kind of thing is how the very best and greatest and most engaging groups form around common interests, not businesses. A quote from Gary Vaynerchuk is one of my favorite potty talking social media and business growth gurus. Is social media is as boring as you can imagine what that word is. It's also as simple as what I imagine that word is, which is why we find it so boring, because it's both boring and simple. And we find it boring because it is so simple. We're always looking for a tip. We're always looking for a trick. We're always looking for a hack. So we complicate things. Because it's so simple, we think, well, it can't be that simple. We have to look for a way to complicate this. What am I missing? It seems too simple to be true. We're always looking for a trick. We're always looking for a hack. We're always looking for a better piece of software. So we never truly get the power out of the software we've got. We don't give any one method that anyone gives us enough time to actually work. We go, a week later, I haven't had a growth. I haven't had people flocking to me. I'm not selling more stuff. So therefore I'm going to change and try something else. almost all methods from all gurus and all social media people are going to work. Give it enough time and enough consistency to be able to get patterns that Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and Pinterest and Google My Business and Twitter can all work with in order to build a pattern around what you do and the people who engage with you. So you don't have to pick my method. You can pick any method you like. Just stick with it for long enough to make sure that things can start to happen, because they won't happen in 1 week, 2 weeks, a month, even 3 months. Most of the time, you will not see it start to lift. 6 months in, if it's not working, then you can consider taking a pivot away from it and trying something new. But it's going to take a while to work. We also sign up for so many guru courses. Now, I do this, of course, because that's part of my job, is to do those things. But going from guru to expert to expert to guru to expert to challenge to guru to expert means that you're spending so much of your time learning confusing, conflicting things from people that you're not actually implementing any of those plans. Pick one and go for it. And then we look at all the wrong data and make some bad decisions. We look at likes, we look at follows, we look at shares and think that's successful. But success really in a business is the end product that you want to do. Remember, we were talking about the objective before? We're talking about the idea that you go into social media knowing what you want to get out of social media. So we tend to go, okay, well, I've got 13,000 likes. That makes me successful. But the problem is that only 2 or 3 people ever comment on what you're posting. That's not successful. You may be wanting to sell things on a website. Success for you is increased conversions, increased sales of what it is you're selling on that website. So yes, go into social media, knowing what you want to get out of social media, and the data you're looking for will be dependent upon what that outcome is. Oh boy, there's plenty of these. The hacks, the tricks, the secrets, they mostly don't work because there really aren't any secrets. Anybody who's talking about secrets and hacks and mastery and all that sort of things, and the secrets of marketing experts exposed, they're snake oil salesmen. They're the kind of people who go around, they're carnies that go around selling, cures for the common cold when there is no cure for the common cold. They are basically just using the kind of language that know that it's going to work on people like us who own businesses who are desperate to get the right formula to work. There really isn't any secrets out there. There's nothing about social media that you can't Google the answer to, and you certainly do not have to pay for any kinds of long courses with these people. Or any vast coaching things to be able to get what those secrets are. The secrets are all out there for everyone to see. In fact, the platforms have lessons that tell you what the secrets and tricks and tips are, because they're not secrets, they're not tricks, and they're not tips. They're actually using those platforms for their intended purpose. So please avoid them. We want better software because most of the time we think that our piece of software is not as good as our friend's piece of software. We're using Hootsuite and she's using Later, and she says it's wonderful and says you should get on it. Here's a discount code for it, which she gets a discount on her next purchase for as well. Just get a piece of software and stick with it. You don't have to be changing and swapping and changing all around all the time. I've got some suggestions of some software later on you can use for free or at a relatively low cost, depending on where you're at with your business. But most of the time, you really don't need software at all. If you're posting to Facebook and to Instagram, just to the feeds and maybe to Facebook stories, then you actually don't need scheduling software. Both those tools have a thing called the Creator Studio. So if you just Google Facebook Creator Studio, you'll be able to use those tools to schedule your Instagram and your Facebook stuff and actually build your posts within there. You don't actually need to buy a tool to schedule this stuff because it's already built into the platform there. There's similar other ones which allow you to get software that works for free, and we'll look at some of those soon. Yes, we don't give any one method enough time to work because it takes time to work. We covered that. We lose time and money signing up for gurus. There's a bit of a cartoon here you might want to read. We should definitely hire this guy to help us with our social media strategy. How do you know if he's any good? Well, don't be an idiot. It says he's a social media expert right in his Twitter profile. Duh. Social media experts are really good at explaining how good they are without actually showing examples of how good they are. They'll create courses, they'll create videos, they'll carry on about how great they are. Probably sounds like that's what I'm trying to do myself right now. The difference is that I've actually got the backing of a couple of the platforms to say that I'm good at what I do. And that's also, I don't sell courses. I don't sell coaching. I don't sell any of that stuff because I know that there's nothing that I know that you can't Google and find out from someone else at some point, because there are no secrets, tricks, or hacks when it comes to social. And we make a lot of decisions on the wrong data, because data can tell us just about anything we want it to do. They've collected 250 terabytes of data about customers in this particular company. So what does the software tell us? It says we have 250 terabytes of data. So being able to interpret the data that's coming through comes down to what it is you want to get out of your social media. We're not going to look into the insights. I think that's a whole other webinar on its own. We can look at that another time. So we'll start on the process of the efficient side of social media posting. So we're looking to not fall down, like Gavin Hamar says that we do, with the idea that we do all the social media in one sitting, usually on a Friday afternoon when we're our least creative, organized, or motivated. Great quote, because that's how writers will often fall down. If you've ever tried to write a book before, it's one of those things where you sit down and you think that somehow the bolt of lightning is going to hit and you're going to have this great creative transformational moment where you're going to sit down and in one weekend write an entire book. The reality is any book, any story, any kind of publication is going to take you time to plan. You've got to plan out what it's going to do, at which points, if it's a fictional story, for instance, how do you enter in? How do you build the empathy with that character? How do you then have the turning point where that character has to make a major decision? What are the obstacles the character has to overcome? It's all part of writing a book. Even a non-fiction book, you still have to create a journey to take someone on through that, and that takes a bit of planning. You may do that in one day. You may do that over a year. That's even before you've written a word about what the book's content's going to be. That's the next stage, the creation of it. And then finally, you get to the editing and the publishing and then the re-editing. And then finally, there's the promotion of that book. Anyone who's written a book that's had any success to it will know that that's a long, drawn-out process. Social media is very, very similar. There's 3 stages: the planning, the writing and design, and the scheduling. Now, I would say up front that it's best that you don't do these on the one day. So in step 1, which is the planning, is actually all about reviewing what you've previously done, looking at your insights in Facebook, looking at your stats in Twitter, looking at your Instagram business profile insights as well, seeing what kind of stuff you produce that does the best, what times work best, and what type of post performs better. Is it video? Is it written? Is it text? Is it still images? Is it just hashtags? What is the kind of stuff that performs best out of all the stuff you've done previously? And then what we do, we put a schedule on a piece of paper, a whiteboard, or even on I use a Google Calendar, and we put little drafts, or we schedule out what exactly we're going to do. I'm going to do a video on Tuesday that's going to be about subject X. And then we walk away. Once you've done your plan, you walk away and you leave that thing alone until at least Tuesday or Wednesday. Let's say you've done your planning on Monday. Then Tuesday or Wednesday, you come back. And this is the part we usually associate with what we're doing in social media. We're talking about working with the canvas and making graphics and making videos and what we call the creative aspect of social media. So we'll do that on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and then we walk away again. So we've done one part and walked away. We've done the second part and walked away. And the third part is the actual placement or the scheduling. And you do this late in the week for the following week. And it's all based on the plan you had before. So you don't have to think about how you're scheduling, because you've already got it on your calendar exactly when you're going to do it. So at that point of the week where you're least creative, most people are, on a Friday afternoon or a Saturday morning, or when you've got a minute to sit down and actually do it, this scheduling doesn't take a lot of brain power. It just means to follow the plan and put it into the system or put it into the platform. Those hard bits you've done at the very beginning of the week, when you've got a lot more creativity in you, you're a lot more sharp. And generally, it sounds a bit weird, and we don't think of Mondays being a very inspiring day, but they're the days that everything's getting fired up again. If you're working a Monday to Friday week, and even if you're not, the world seems to be working on a Monday to Friday week, then you're much more fired up on a Monday than you will be, say, on a Friday. You're fired up for different reasons on a Friday, usually to get to the pub after work, or you're looking forward to doing something on the weekend. Let's break it down to the planning. Yes, do it very early in the week. I would suggest doing it on Mondays. This is the day where you're going to check those insights. You're going to see what are the best performing days in your insights this week or this month. What are the times when your audiences are online. In Facebook's case, there's a thing called audience insights, and they'll tell you when people are largely online. Then build your plan around these particular times, not against some kind of arbitrary schedule, which is like, I post on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Well, that's great. Why? Why do you post on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays? Because they're nice and separated out. That's not enough. When you're going to post is going to be driven by what your insights say you should be posting. So everyone's always asking for a quick, easy answer to this. What's the best time to post? What's the best day to post? The best time to post, the best day to post is what your insights tell you is the best time and day to post. And that may change from week to week, month to month, year to year. Then you've got to look at what post content is performing the best. So in your insights on Facebook and on Instagram as well, it'll give you an idea of what posts have performed the best. You'll also see this in things like, you can go back through your history in LinkedIn and actually see what the things are that you posted that got the most results, the most interaction, the most likes and comments, and more people saw. Especially in videos, they're really easy to measure that. This is where you plan for what kind of post for each post, what post type for each post is based on what's been performing in the last. Now you go a little bit further out, not just the last week, you might look at the last month and then look at, okay, I can see a pattern there. The video is outperforming still images by 3 to 1. So I'm going to do more video next week. And I noticed on LinkedIn that posting something just in text really outperforms sharing a link and commenting on it. Great. So I know what I'm going to do with these now. Over a month or a quarter, you're also going to see what topics you've been running, the themes you've been talking about that have been performing the best. And I would look at that over a month or a quarter, simply because a week isn't enough to see what's hot right now. It'll tell you what may have been a spike of interest during a news article in a particular week, but it won't tell you what the ongoing growth in a particular theme is like. Are people talking about SEO at the moment? Are people talking about alternative health at the moment? Are they talking about masks? Are they talking about how to grow bromeliads? Or are they looking at what are the citrus colors of spring back for this spring? That's how you'll be able to tell that, what the patterns are over a period of time that people seem to react to. Are they talking more about cosmetics rather than fashion? And you can look at that through things like Google's trends. If you Google Trends, you'll be able to see how you can look at differences between common themes. So you can say, people are talking about Lady Gaga X versus Beyonce versus Madonna. And then you can say, okay, people are talking a lot more about Lady Gaga right now because she was in a recent movie and is in a TV show. And you can see that pattern starting to emerge over time. So, you know, okay, when I talk about something, it's going to be a lot more researched against what your own insights are saying and what tools like Google's trends are going to tell you. Quick points though, on when it comes to the efficient scheduling and the efficient planning, is that usually in a week on anyone's business account, 3 posts is going to be enough. The effort to add more than that per week kind of rises disproportionately against the value you're going to get back from it. Posting lots of stuff during the day is hard work and it's a lot of effort, but it also comes with less of a reward than just doing 3 amazing posts. Do 3 killer posts a week rather than doing 28 really crappy ones. You can do more. If something pops in during the week, add it in. If a news thing hits in your industry, add it in. That's not going to hurt you. You have the space now to be able to add those little spontaneous bits in now without overwhelming people who are actually following you and then want to unfollow you because you're just doing too much stuff. The types of posts to vary around are video image galleries, which perform better on Facebook than images, but images perform better than image galleries on Instagram. Written performs so well still on LinkedIn against an image or a link. And links, of course, are pretty much the shared links are probably the least performing things on Facebook and LinkedIn. For stories, yeah, include these in your plan, but they're an extra on top of your regular posts. I very rarely ever will do stories because that's not where my clients are. That's not where I want to reach people. That's not where I build my credibility. Your business though, if it's in fashion, physical items, things that you're selling in an actual store, that may be really good for you to do a story. Stories can be fantastic. Same with live video. Live video can be particularly effective when you're doing something which is, I do a live every Monday at 9 a.m. and that live gets 50,000 people on it. Well, that's great. Keep doing that. You can schedule ahead with tools like Later or Hootsuite or Buffer that can help you. Particularly Later is probably the only really reliable one I've seen for scheduling Instagram stories ahead. But you can use Facebook's Creator Studio to schedule ahead your Facebook stories. And there's always going to be horses for courses. What works on Facebook doesn't necessarily work on Instagram. In fact, what works on Instagram rarely ever works on LinkedIn. So people on each platform are different. The platforms themselves are different. So you need to treat each one differently. So that's why I say 3 posts is enough. Because if you're creating 3 posts on Facebook, then you've got to create another 3 in a format that Instagram will work with. And if you're using LinkedIn, that's another 3. So you've already got 9 posts there just on 3 networks that you'll need to adjust to work differently on those different networks. And when you do a review, you're going to be doing a quick review every week anyway, when you get to the Monday and you're reviewing last week's insights. But I would do a more thorough review about each quarter, but change direction no more than every month. If you find that what you've been doing is really not working at all and it's just not hitting any kind of idea of getting response, then give it a month before you try something drastically new. The second step is writing and design. This is the part that we always equate with what social media is. And I reckon do this in midweek, Tuesday or Wednesday, because you've got all the urgent stuff out of the way on Monday. You've got the planning out of the way on Monday. Now you're stepping into the place where your brain's awake, you're in work mode, and you're generally in a great place to be able to do things that are more creative. You've had your inspiration on Monday, that's carrying through to the Tuesday. So that's when you should start doing the things that involve some degree of creativity. I would say though, don't start the creative until you've written down the words. Write the text first, because the more that you write in your text, the less text you're going to put in your graphic. And in the second part, which is the designing of the graphic or the video, you want to keep the text to an absolute minimum. Outside of if you're talking to camera on a video and you want to do subtitles, that I don't count that as text. Text is when you've got words flashing up on screen, or you've got a graphic that's full of quotes or big letters saying, you know, just do it, or it's Monday, or it's Friday, or something like that. Keep your words to the absolute minimum, because the platforms don't reward posts with lots of words. They reward things that people consider to be the things they want to consume. And don't always assume that people want to consume inspirational quotes all the time. Do them occasionally, but you'll find they probably don't actually get, just because a lot of people do them doesn't mean they actually work. Make your images vivid, make your videos capture attention, have a lot of movement in there. And most importantly, make your own. There's so many amazing tools, which we're going to look at shortly, that will do that and make it so much easier for you to do. But don't go ripping off other people's inspirational quotes. Quote yourself before you quote other people. No one cares what Abraham Lincoln had to say. No one cares what Oprah Winfrey had to say, except for people who follow Oprah Winfrey. They want to see what you have to say. It may not be that original. It may be a repeat of what someone else has done. But you've got some things that you say that people really do react to in real life. So bring those online. Quote yourself before you quote other people. Be the expert. And I would say that in the writing and design, you've got to speak to the world of your client, your customer, not your own world. So you're speaking not in terms of, here's a list of all the features of my product. You're talking into a list of all the benefits to them of using your product. An example would be going into a car yard and trying to sell a car, and they always go into, oh, it's a 2.5 litre turbo, extra valve, CC, ABS brakes, it's got these airbags in there, here. The benefits are not clear, because I'm just hearing that's something I can read myself on a website. The benefits are, look, I can see you've got a few kids there. Well, the good idea is this particular thing has the fold down seats at the back, so you can actually put a few more in there. And you've got room for another 2 if you want to get busy later on with the wife. But, the ultimate thing is that you are, you're a family man, so you're driving around. And actually, is it you that's going to be driving it, or is the missus going to be driving it more? Because I'm probably talking to the wrong guy. Now, that's an approach from a car salesperson who actually sells to the person's needs rather than just trying to list off a whole bunch of lazy statistics that mean nothing to anybody. So remember, you're adding value into their world, solving a problem in their world, adding something valuable to their world, not just pushing a product down their throats. Yes, this might be the thing that your upline is telling you you need to sell this month in order to make your points value for the month. But you still come across and saying, rather than saying, hey, I've got this this particular moisturizing cream from Nutrimetics, and this is an example I came across helping out on a group yesterday. I've got this thing called Nutrimetics, and you can get it all for $10 if you join my VIP club. And I'm like, well, that's great. There's a lot of information in there, but I know nothing about this moisturizer. Why should I buy that moisturizer instead of getting the one from Coles or Woolies or Chemist Warehouse? You know, and that would be when you go, oh, okay. Well, first, sell the sizzle, not the sausage. So what is the benefit about this moisturizing cream? All natural ingredients that are easily absorbed and don't leave an oily residue on your skin. Great. I want to spend $10 now. So you always speak to their world, not to your product. Quick points to remember: video is generally short on social media because attention span is also very, very short. So work on videos that are no more than about 60 seconds in length, even if you're doing that. This doesn't count live video. I know live video is good for about that 10-minute mark to really get people's attention and to rewatch it later on. But if it's a pre-recorded video, your 15, 30, and 60-second things are more than long enough to get attention and get a message across. I used to be in radio, and they used to tell us if you can't say it in 15 seconds, don't say it at all. Graphics are graphics. They're not places to put words. Your graphic is not a place for words unless you're creating a quote. And even then, try and choose a photo in the background that gives you a limited amount of space to put the quote. People won't be able to read it. The point is they're attracted not to words, they're attracted to an image. So the image will draw them in enough to be able to read those smaller words. Mix it up, your videos, your image galleries, your written, your links. Just try everything, especially when you're first getting started. Use templates. There's things like Canva and Crello and Stencil for graphics that are fantastic tools and don't cost much, and some of them are even free to start with. You've got InVideo, Lumen 5, Wave Video for creating videos, and I'll look at those a little closer soon as well, because they have some fantastic ways for you to get started on stuff to make it so much easier for you to produce stuff that looks good on social media. And develop a look. Some of the best people out there use the same colors, the same fonts, and the same style of writing on everything they post. And it looks good, and people know what to expect, and they see it and they get attracted to it because they recognize it, because they stick to that formula. Build your own color palette, choose a font, and work on a style of communication that works for you and for the people who follow you. And there's always horses for courses. Your post on Facebook is going to be different to the one on Instagram, to the one on LinkedIn, to the one on Google My Business, to the one on Pinterest. Match the format to the platform you're on. Don't try to force a Facebook square in an Instagram hole. Step 3 is scheduling or placement. This is where you use some great systems. You don't have to use systems. Like I said, you can schedule your stuff for Facebook and Instagram through the Facebook Creator Studio. It's a great tool. I really hope you'll check that out because it's free. It's part of your account. Facebook Creator Studio. Do this late in the week, say on a Friday afternoon when you're kind of winding down, because this doesn't take a lot of brain power. You can do this one very much on autopilot. You don't have to be thinking too heavily about it, because all you're doing is that you're using your insights from earlier in the week and the plan that you set out in your calendar to be able to schedule it out. And then you set out your different times in days and types for each network as well. So you might say, okay, Facebook is telling me that Tuesday at 10 a.m. is a fantastic time to post, but LinkedIn seems to work best when I get people around about lunchtime, and Instagram seems to be sort of late in the evening. So just because a post works at a certain time and day for Facebook doesn't mean it's going to work for all those other ones. So you'll have to schedule things in different places for those different things. Now, yes, it takes a little bit more time. Yes, it means you're going to have to spend a bit more time thinking about it. But the beautiful thing is, remember, we've broken this process into 3 different parts on 3 different occasions. You're not doing it all at once. You're doing a week's worth of planning on Monday. You're doing a week's worth of creative on Tuesday or Wednesday. And you're doing a week's worth of scheduling on Friday. All up, this shouldn't be taking you more than half an hour to plan, more than an hour or and a half at tops to create the place, the creative stuff. And the placement should be taking no longer than half to 3/4 of an hour once you've got a momentum and a bit of a routine going. You can also cut that time down by using systems. And which brings us to the second E, the economical tools. Now, the economical tools are things like Canva for creating. It lets you create templated still images and a little bit of animation too. They do a bit of that too. It is much better when you pay for it, but you can start for free. So it is a free tool, but you get so many more templates and so many more stock photos and so many more elements and animated features if you spend the $13.99 Australian per month. I've been paying for Canva for years. I used to be a very heavy Photoshop user for creating my graphics. I reckon I use Photoshop maybe once a fortnight now when I really need to do something quite technical. Canva does everything else for me. Crello is a very similar tool to Canva, around about the same price, $9.95 US, which comes to about $14, $15 a month in Australian. It's focused a lot more on moving stuff. You can do a lot more moving images. So they become MPEG-4s or MP4 videos to be able to load up. Also free to start. You get quite a few templates to work with, and you upgrade to a similar price as Canva per month. This could be useful for you if you want to do more moving stuff. It's also very useful for you if you want to do things that don't look all the same as everybody else who's using the free version of Canva. Using Crello means that you have a different set of templates than what you would have on Canva. For video, there's 3 tools that I utterly love. Wave Video is the one I used to start with. I don't use it so much anymore, but I used to use it a lot. It's very popular for making video on social networks. And it's free to start with, but it will put a watermark on your video and will use their branded player to play that video. And then it's $20 US a month to upgrade to a pro version. Is it worth it? I think there's cheaper options out there, and I've got one of them coming up. Lumen 5 Video gives you 3 videos a month that also have the Lumen 5 watermark on them. That's for the free version. You can upgrade for $29 US per month, but the best of the bunch that I always recommend is InVideo. I've done a webinar on this, and I'm going to do another one in September. This is the best of the month because it's so easy to use and it's cheaper to use. It's a 1 lifetime deal payment of $49 US with no monthly payments, and you get it through a thing called AppSumo. AppSumo is like a daily deal kind of thing for software, a bit like what Groupon, Scoopon, and Catch of the Day have been for physical items. AppSumo is for getting started on software. And InVideo has been on this deal for probably 6 months now. They love the people they get through it, and they really do support and grow this product. Every time I go in, there's new templates, there's new ideas and new features. So I can't recommend it enough. I will make 30 videos a week using this thing because it's so quick and easy to do. And you can create your templates and reuse them again and again and again. I've got a discount code if you actually want to use it. Probably just message me at the end of this so I can get the your email address to send you through that code that will give you $10 US off that. So your lifetime deal will come down to $39 US instead of $49 US. So a bit more about that later. Just let me know if you want to get that code. Economical scheduling tools are things like Buffer. This is a really good beginner's tool because it lets you have up to 3 social accounts like your Facebook, your Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. It doesn't schedule Instagram stories, so you're going to be limited there, but it's a simple system that works on a calendar, and you just slot in what you want to post and where, and then when you want to post it. And it's quite easy to follow. A very simple interface that isn't particularly confusing. And yes, it is free. And it lets you, I think, do up to 14 posts ahead. So you can post up to 2 weeks in advance. With this particular method we're talking about, the E3, you're only really looking at doing 1 week at a time. So you'll definitely be able to do that. Hootsuite, there is a free version for very limited social accounts. Covers Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Pinterest, and Instagram. It covers so many of them and includes 3 of those on a free account. So you can probably do your Facebook, your Instagram, and maybe your LinkedIn. Most of you will be doing those 3, I'm imagining. So you can use those with Hootsuite. The power of Hootsuite is in its function to bring a feed in from your social media and follow subjects and hashtags within the interface. I don't personally think it's the best posting tool, but it is good for bringing all your feeds into one place. Naturally, it's very limited when it's free. almost everybody who I know has ever used it end up upgrading to the paid version because they run out of social media, they run out of options, they run out of templates, they run out of the networks they want to post to. If you're primarily on Instagram, this one probably won't come as much of a surprise to you because it is the premier Instagram posting tool. It's called Later. It used to be called Latergram, but it's now called Later. It's free for one set of social accounts that include Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter. So most of you are probably going to use Facebook and Instagram. That is free, and you can post up to, I think it's 14 days in advance, and it allows you to also post to Instagram stories, which is probably the killer feature it has above everything else. I do use Later because I like to post to Instagram stories for clients of mine. Or when I say my team does. I don't do much posting anymore. My team will use Later because it can post to Instagram stories ahead of time, and you can set out exactly what time of the day they're going to go, in what order they're going to go. It is a fantastic tool, certainly one of my favorites, particularly when it comes to Instagram. Social Pilot is what we use in-house now for we've gone through a lot of tools. This is the one we've landed on because it seems to be the most consistent that works for us. And so Social Pilot is a 14-day free trial, and then it starts at $25 US per month. Most small businesses are not going to need this power though. This thing is a powerhouse. It posts to Google My Business as well. It posts to, I think, YouTube. You can post to, I even saw somewhere, I think it posts to WordPress. Like, it's an amazing integrated tool that does so much. But to be honest, you're not going to need that power in the case of one small business that has maybe 3 social media accounts. Maybe look at Later or Buffer as the two that I think are the best. Loomly is also quite good. 15-day free trial, then $25 a month, but no free version. So I would say if you want to really start small, start with something that gives you free access like Later or Buffer or Hootsuite. My recommendation would be if you're Instagram heavy rather than Facebook heavy, go for Later. If you're more Facebook heavy, go for Buffer. And if you're someone who works a lot with LinkedIn as well, I think Buffer is excellent for that one too. But Instagram and Later are so well integrated. They're just a great combination. Then we get to our third E. What is an effective strategy for social media? This is the special sauce. This is the secret. This is the hack. This is the trick. There's no tricks here. There's only one strategy. Post something, review how it went, and then make adjustments for next time. That's the only strategy I will give for you, because there's no strategy that's one strategy that works for everyone except for this one, because this one requires you to keep reviewing how it went so you can make the changes to adjust to what did and didn't work. So you just got to start. Post something. Post anything you can to your account. Then you measure how it went. Then you post another thing and measure how it went, and then measure until you start to see what the things are that work. Now, that's going to take you a good month to get any kind of data that's even meaningful to you, where you start to see, people like seeing videos on Thursdays. Then I know that I've got to do more videos on Thursdays. People also like me doing live videos on a Monday. Great. I've got to do more of live videos on a Monday. But that movie review I did of when I went out to the movies and reviewed the popcorn and all that on Thursday went nowhere. So I'm just not going to bother doing that anymore. And thank goodness, because it takes a lot of work. There's only the one strategy: post, review, adjust. Isn't that great? You don't have to remember a huge, massive formula here. You're just posting and reviewing and making changes if you need to adjust to move to the days that people work best on and times that people work best on and the things they seem to like the most. That's all you have to do. Just keep reading your insights. But how do you keep momentum when it's all said and done? Because remember, this is boring. It's a formula. It's not huge flashes of insight and creativity. It's all about having a set time and day that you do these things in. Like I said, Monday, if you're a Monday to Friday-ish kind of person, then Monday is a great time at the beginning of the week, because despite it being Monday, we're disappointed the weekend was over. We seem to convince ourselves that we need more coffee on a Monday. Monday is probably the most inspirational day because we're jarred into action. So set Monday to be doing your planning. Set Tuesday or Wednesday to be doing your creative. Set Friday to be doing your actual posting in, or your placement into those systems. I would say remove your distractions. If you are going, oh my goodness, I keep looking at all these things going on Twitter, get rid of Twitter. Like, get out of the platforms to do your posting. Just go into, if you must, use things like the Creator Studio where you're not seeing the onslaught of things coming in through your Facebook. Use things like buffer and close your Facebook so you're not seeing the distraction of social media coming in and hijacking your day. Close your email. Of all things, close your email. That is the most distracting thing ever. I would say read, watch, and learn. Read what the experts are saying are good tips, because there are great tips out there that help you to make more engaging things. The best tip of all is just to see what your insights say, see what your followers are saying. So, but watch things, learn, and see what things resonate best with you. Because like we said before, you kind of got to pick one thing and just let it go for a good 3 to 6 months to see if it actually works. So I'm not saying follow my routine. This is what's worked for myself and my team, and we've done very well out of it. You know, like I said, over 1,500 social media accounts over the last, 12 years. And the bulk, the vast majority of those, 80% of them in the last 3 years. We've developed that routine to help our customers to get more out of it. It works for us, but that may not work for you. You're one business. So you've got to read, watch, and learn and find the thing that works for you. But when you do find it, stick to it. Try and stick to it as much as you might want to jump around and try other things. Set yourselves alarms and reminders on your phones, on your Google calendars, and your Outlook calendars to tell you to do these things. Don't assume that you're just going to know that 10 o'clock on a Monday morning is when you plan. Set that reminder and block it out. If people want to have meetings with you then, sorry, I'm doing something then. Just block it out. So I'm going to do a recap now. Social media is hard because it's not about creativity. It's about consistency, data, and repetitive formulas. Sorry to say that. We get excited, but then we fall down because we see what's possible, but it doesn't work straight away. And that's because it's not about us. So we lose interest. Planning is absolutely vital. What they say is failing to plan is planning to fail. So use your insights, your analytics to let you see what works and what doesn't. Plan your week out on Monday or Tuesday to just the one task at a time. Creating, do it midweek when you're fresh. Use your templates, use those tools that we're talking about to make it simple. And your strategy is always going to be post, review the post to see how it went, and then make adjustments to the next post. So, or you say, post this week's, see what worked, repeat the things that worked, don't repeat the things that didn't. But use your data over a period of time. 1 week's really not enough when you're first getting started. You need a good month to really get an idea of what seems to be working and what seems to not be working so much. So let's quickly pop into the Q&A now just to see what you've all been asking. Just be a moment. Where is my Q&A? Up here. Not working on a full screen with all my usual tools is really, really scary. All right, so we got somebody who was asking in the chat about wanting, can I get the in-video code? Yes, I will send that through you, Christina, so you got that one. Have you got any other questions you would like to ask? I think the Q&A was a bit quiet. But yeah, if you've got any other questions you want to ask, I'll send out that code to everybody. It's a link you can go to sign up for AppSumo. They'll give you $10, not just off in video, but off your first purchase through them. So if you want to try that out, I'll send that out in the follow-up email that comes out after this. You can watch this again through YouTube on Business Station's channel at youtube.com, and then just look for Business Station. You'll see this video. I'd say it'll probably appear around about Tuesday, usually a couple of days before they can get those ones on there. Thank you so much for spending your Saturday morning with me. I know it's not the greatest time of the day, but thank you so much. I've really enjoyed having it. In fact, Saturday morning's kind of chilled when you're on a bit of a holiday. It's a shame to have to work, but if you have to do any kind of work, doing this kind of work is probably the kind of work you do want to be doing. Have a great weekend.